This is one of my favorite arrangements of the hymn tune, Via de Havre. Arranged by Marilyn Ham, most of us know it as It Is Well With My Soul. Of course, it uses a bit of legal plagiarizing of Beethoven at the beginning. But the piano can create so many wonderful moods. How did that introduction and first verse make you feel? I'm Dr. Tom Jenkins. I'm an adjunct piano instructor at Mississippi State University, as well as a full-time director of church music at the First Baptist Church here in Starkville, Mississippi. I've been a pianist, a conductor, an educator, composer, church musician for quite a few years now, and I continue to learn and practice my skills every day. There's always something new to learn. I'd like to share with you what I think are some important aspects of piano in modern church music. Have you thought about how you can use your piano skills to be part of something greater than yourself? Let's talk about piano power, essential skills for the modern church musician. In today's dynamic church environment, piano skills are more than just a talent, they're a necessity. From keeping up with the worship band to enriching hymns and even adding a touch of magic to the service, the piano is the ultimate tool for the modern church musician. Does your church use a song leader or choir director, maybe accompanied by only a piano and organ? Or perhaps you go to a church with a contemporary band. Or maybe your church has an orchestra. Maybe you lead the worship from the keyboard. Well, in all of these variations, the piano remains constant. It can serve in many flexible ways to enhance the service. The prelude, offertory, and postlude are often special moments for the church pianist. We can share our arrangements of favorite tunes like It Is Well with the congregation. And what pianist doesn't enjoy a little attention and a moment to shine? But that's not the only way we can share our talent. The piano is the Swiss Army knife of instruments. A Swiss Army knife is referred to as a multi-tool with all sorts of uses, from screwdrivers to scissors to an actual knife. And just like that, the piano can be used in all sorts of ways. First, being able to read different types of scores are important. Traditional music scored for a piano solo is just the beginning. Accompanying is an acquired skill for a pianist. Choir directors love a pianist who can follow their every whim, speeding up, slowing down, adding a flourish here or there. If you're a strong pianist, you're not just accompanying, you're elevating the entire choir. Most of our church choir anthems are scored in traditional notation, SATB with piano. The ability to accompany a choir or an ensemble or a soloist is prized. And the piano is actually standard with most church orchestras as well. It serves to support and fill in for the various church instrumentalists, some of whom are young players or adults returning to their instrument after a long hiatus. However, the most important ensemble in the church is not the choir. It's actually the congregation. And one of the most important jobs of the church musician is to provide for and encourage congregational singing. In some ways, the pianist acts as a cheerleader, prompting and supporting them to engage in worship through song. Part of that work is knowing the people in your church and the musical styles they are accustomed to. Accompanying congregational songs is an art form, and it isn't easy. Often the pianist is the key to whether a song is sung with confidence and enthusiasm. Even the introduction can make a huge difference. Let's take the great hymn, Amazing Grace, for example. The original in the hymn book is in the key of G and in standard SATB voicing, and the introduction might sound something like this. and then you would sing. But maybe your church would be more interested in this kind of introduction. Well, yet another variation made popular by Chris Tomlin is actually in 4/4 time instead of 3, and it's lower in the key of E. Sounds something along these lines. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. Well, how would these different versions inspire you to sing Amazing Grace differently? You know, each of these versions could be used in a different church setting. Another aspect of creative congregational playing is utilizing key changes and free accompaniments. So here's an example using the hymn tune, Lobe den Herren. I'll play the first verse and then I'll proceed through a modulation to the last stanza, which has a different harmonization. Listen for how it might influence or encourage your singing if you were sitting in the congregation. The ability to play and improvise from lead sheets is an important skill for the modern church musician, especially if you're playing with a worship band. Let's face it, the worship band is not waiting for anyone to find the right chord. If you can't nail that F sharp minor 7 on the first go, the bassist is already giving you the side eye and the drummer's thinking about starting a solo career. Piano skills let you keep up and even lead the band. Because honestly, who else knows how to transpose on the fly? You know, playing from a lead sheet is fun because you get to add your own unique touch. Lead sheets will vary as to how much information they contain, and a chord chart is different from a lead sheet. So here's an example of a chord, or they call it also a church chart, for a song entitled King of Kings. Well, it contains only very basic information for a song. Unless you're already familiar with the tune, it's difficult to play from only a chord chart. You only have this basic information. Well, here's a basic lead sheet for King of Kings. It shows the melody and the chords, and sometimes they'll have some smaller notes in there to help you give information for the keyboards or electric guitars. And yet, here's another variation with much more helpful information. For example, we see instructions for instrumentation like piano and pads at the very beginning, and along with suggested introduction melody as well. And you can see an add the acoustic guitar in measure 9. Well, to play diamonds means to play a chord without the rhythm. So you see in measure 15, it says for the acoustic guitar to start strumming. So using that last version, I can play something along these lines. In the darkness we were waiting, without hope, without light, till from heaven you came running. There was mercy in your eyes, to fulfill the law and prophets. To a virgin came the word, from a throne of endless glory to a cradle in the dirt. And then you add rhythm. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. So, using either a lead sheet or fully written music, the pianist must be sensitive to the other musicians in the group. I mean, let's be real. Sometimes the rest of the band isn't quite up to snuff. The rhythm guitarist amp cuts out, or the tambourine player is too enthusiastic. A competent pianist can fill in the gaps, making the music sound cohesive even when it's held together by duct tape and a prayer. A good pianist knows the piano doesn't need to be out front all the time. They leave space for other instruments, even while ensuring the music sounds polished. A good church musician knows that versatility is the key, and the piano is the ultimate multitasker. You know, another great job for a pianist is to provide subtle background music. This can really help glue a service together. And being able to improvise a simple harmonic sequence is an essential tool in the pianist's Swiss Army knife. Well, here's a couple of simple progressions with an improvised melody in which you can hear the bass notes moving downward. The first one goes like this. And over that chord progression, you can add whatever melody you like. And it's great if you can play it in any key. That would be very nice. Still, yet another really simple improvisation is to use the 6 chord going to a 3 chord. So for example, in the key of C, we would begin on an A minor, and an A minor 7 is kind of nice, you know, so that's an A minor chord going to an E minor chord. And you simply float back and forth. And when you want to get out of it, then you're ready. The piano serves for all kinds of church services, and your skill, technique, and passion help to determine the success of worship. An exciting introduction unites the congregation in their expectation of singing. A well-played outro can extend a quiet moment of introspection. You know, funerals are opportunities to bring solace and a ministering spirit to a grieving family. Weddings are a time to shine and celebrate. For a pianist, You know it's a precious moment in a performance when you realize that the congregation or the audience is fully engaged and listening to your every note. You've created a musical world into which they've stepped and are enveloped in your artistry. I've had exquisite moments actually in funerals when a full congregation sat in perfect stillness as I completed a postlude. That is piano music ministry in action. To conclude, piano skills are not just important for the modern church musician, they're practically essential. Plus, they make you look cool. And let's be honest, who doesn't want to be the coolest person on the worship team? But on a serious note, music is a ministry, and the piano often leads the charge. Whether you're creating an atmosphere of worship, lifting people's spirits, or helping someone connect with God, your skills matter. So embrace the piano, hone your skills, and let your music become a powerful force for good. And if your path leads you to Mississippi State University, don't forget to sign up for piano lessons. I'm going to conclude with this great last page of this arrangement of It Is Well With My Soul by Marilyn Ham.